My beloved child, I could not keep this a secret any longer. I have watched you for so long, standing on the edge of your hope, looking out into a horizon that seems to offer nothing but unbroken silence. I have seen the heavy sighs that escape your lips when you think no one is watching. I have counted the tears that fall in the quietest hours of the night, slipping onto your pillow while the rest of the world is asleep. You have carried a weight so profound, so unspoken, that it has begun to make your very soul tremble. And today, I am stepping into your space, breaking the silence, pulling back the veil of eternity to whisper a truth into your weary heart. I could not keep my silence any longer, because the time of your waiting has reached its divine tipping point. I know you are standing in a strange in-between. The promise has been set in motion, yet the world outside remains quiet as if nothing has happened. You wake up each morning, and the scenery around you has not changed. The bank accounts look the same, the empty chairs at the table remain empty, the closed doors still appear locked, and the heavy air of stagnation tries to convince you that you have been entirely forgotten. You have looked at the circumstances surrounding your life and wondered if you misheard my voice, if perhaps you stepped off the path, or if my promises were meant for everyone else but you. Right there, I remind you of this. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is not a ticket to exchange for instant results. If you only believe when you see change, then you are following outcomes. But if you remain when nothing is visible yet, you are entering a true relationship with me. There is a truth I need you to understand clearly, so your heart will not be unsettled. You are not forgotten, and you are not late. The secret I am revealing to you today is that this in-between is not an empty space. It is not a void of punishment, nor is it a graveyard for your dreams. It is a meeting point where I am working in the deep places before I allow you to see with your eyes. You have assumed that the silence meant I had turned my back. You have interpreted the lack of visible movement as a denial of your deepest prayers. But my precious child, while you were looking for loud thunder and grand earthquakes, I was working in the quiet, subterranean depths of your destiny. When you assume everything is mere coincidence, your prayer can easily become a hurried habit. But when you accept that you are exactly where you should be, you will stop striving in impatience and begin to listen fully, not only to what excites you, but also to what I use to shape you. I do not lead you through the in-between merely to rescue you from the difficulty in front of you. What I aim for is far deeper, restoring you at the root. I see your weary body, your tangled finances, your fractured emotions, and your disordered spiritual life. You do not fully understand how you ended up carrying so much in this in-between season. Tears often come before answers. I do not take your pain lightly, but I also do not want you to use it as a reason to stop. When you do not let bitterness take root, pain can become a quiet seed that begins to sprout. What you call loss today may be what I am reshaping into a harvest tomorrow. I could not keep this a secret from you anymore because I see how close you are to giving up. I see the invisible threshold you are standing upon, and I know that the enemy of your soul has been whispering lies of defeat into your mind. He has tried to convince you that you are invisible, that your efforts are wasted, and that your hope is a foolish illusion. But I am here to tell you that the very opposite is true. I look at you now not with a suspicious gaze, but with the patience of a father who knows exactly where you stand. You think you have gone wrong because the promise you heard is still not within your grasp. But I whisper to you precisely when everything still looks the same. I am confirming that you have not wandered from the plan. You have stepped into the appointed meeting I prepared long ago in that place. I do not need you to run faster. I only need you to stay long enough. Many have walked away from this meeting point because they assumed silence meant absence. But with me, silence is often when I am working most deeply. You grow weary in this space because you have become used to measuring me by outward signs. When you do not see a door open, you begin to doubt what I said. When you do not see results, you think you misheard my voice. That is when faith is quietly distorted, not through open betrayal, but through an unspoken bargain. I will believe if you prove it. I do not condemn you for this because your heart longs for certainty. But I want you to understand, if you treat everything as random, your prayers will become shallow, not because of me, but because you are only seeking a temporary sense of safety. And that very haste makes you miss how near I truly am. Remember the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. Leaving Jerusalem in the sorrow of late afternoon, they had heard the promise, they had witnessed the cross, But they did not understand the resurrection, so they believed everything was over. I walked with them for a long time, yet their eyes were kept from recognizing me because they searched for me only in what was familiar. I did not scold them for leaving. I simply drew near, explained everything piece by piece until their hearts burned again. Only when they were willing to stop, break bread, and remain long enough did they realize I had never left. You are the same. The in-between is not a full stop, but a stretch of road where I am walking beside you, even if you have not yet named my presence rightly. I invite you to return with a different posture. Do not live as though everything is accidental, and do not pray as if you are merely trying your luck. Quiet the distractions that keep you hunting for noise to fill the emptiness. Stay with me not only in the passages that thrill you, but also in the parts that require patience and obedience. When you remain long enough, you will realize I speak to you not only with words, but through a life whose rhythm is being rearranged. I have to tell you this secret today because the veil is lifting. The soil that has concealed your miracle is beginning to crack under the weight of the life pushing through it. What has been dormant is now awakening. The prayers you thought evaporated into the cold air have actually been gathered in the throne room of heaven, filling bowls of incense that are now tipping over, ready to pour out blessings upon your life. I am not a God who delights in your torture. I am not a father who abandons his child in the wilderness. Every step of this harsh journey was measured. Every delay was calculated to protect you from things you were not ready to face, and to prepare your character to hold the massive weight of the glory I am about to bestow upon you. If I had opened the doors when you first knocked, you would have entered with a fragile spirit, easily crushed by the demands of the new season. If I had handed you the financial breakthrough when you first cried out, you might have trusted in the provision rather than the provider. If I had healed the relationship immediately, you would not have learned the profound depths of relying solely on my unfailing love. I held things back to build your spiritual muscles. I kept you in the dark so your roots would grow downward, searching for the living water that never runs dry. And now, my child, the roots are deep enough. The foundation is poured, the scaffolding is ready to come down. I could not keep this a secret any longer because the manifestation is imminent. The heavens are vibrating with the sound of your name. Angels have been dispatched with specific assignments regarding your life, your home, your children, and your future. The invisible realm is crowded with heavenly activity, all focused on bringing to pass the decrees that I have spoken over your destiny before the foundation of the world. I know your heart has cried too long in silence. I know there are days you wake with heavy eyes, not only from physical tiredness, but because your soul is exhausted. Your tears do not confuse me, and they do not push me away. I have seen every drop fall on the nights you thought no one understood. I am validating every single tear today. They are not wasted. But hear this secret from the heart of your Father. Tears are not permission for you to remain forever in one place. If you turn pain into a shelter, it will slowly hide the road I am opening. I want to turn your pain into a quiet seed that begins to sprout. What you call lost today is what I am reshaping into a massive harvest tomorrow. Do not shrink back now. Do not fold your hands in defeat just as the dawn is about to break. You have survived the harshest winters of the soul. You have navigated the treacherous waters of doubt and betrayal. You have stood firm when every physical evidence suggested you should collapse. Your endurance has been recorded in the archives of heaven. You are deeply, wildly, and unconditionally loved. And the secret is out. Your time of vindication has arrived. Breathe deeply, my beloved. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Rest in the absolute certainty that the Creator of the universe is actively, passionately, and relentlessly moving on your behalf. My beloved child, I need you to lean in closer now, for I am about to unveil the profound mystery of the silence you have been agonizing over. You have sat in empty rooms, listening to the echoes of your own pleas, staring at ceilings in the dead of night, wondering why the heavens feel like brass. You have asked, time and again, why the promises you carry seem suspended in an endless void. You have felt the crushing weight of time passing, and in that heavy atmosphere, you have questioned whether I am truly there. But I tell you today, many have walked away from this meeting point because they assumed silence meant absence. You have measured my proximity to you by the noise of my interventions, believing that if I am not moving mountains right before your physical eyes, I must have abandoned you to figure out this life alone. But with me, Silence is often when I am working most deeply. You see, earthly silence is merely an absence of sound, but heavenly silence is the heavy, focused concentration of a creator meticulously arranging the intricate details of your destiny. I see you looking at the calendar, and I watch as your heart sinks with the turning of every page. You count the days, the months, the years, and a quiet panic begins to set in as you calculate what you believe is lost time. But time does not bind me, and my timeline is not a scale for your failures. Hear me clearly, and let these words shatter the anxiety in your chest. Delay is not the evidence of abandonment. I have never walked away from the blueprint of your life. I have never torn up the plans I wrote for you before you took your first breath. Instead, this seemingly unbearable pause is the space in which I reshape your wings before you fly. If I were to thrust you into the fierce winds of your destiny with fractured wings, the very heights you have so desperately prayed to reach would become the cause of your own destruction. You look at delay and see it as a punishment, but I look at it as absolute, unyielding protection. I must lengthen your journey to protect you from the haste that could destroy what I have prepared. There is a reality I need you to grasp today, a truth that will set you free from the relentless, exhausting cycle of self-blame. You have thought that you were only struggling with lack, or difficult circumstances, or simple bad luck. But in truth, you are walking through an invisible battlefield. What is happening around you and within you is not merely circumstantial, it is deeply spiritual. There are attacks that make no sound, do not shake the earth, yet they erode the soul little by little. The enemy of your soul knows he cannot defeat you in a direct, roaring confrontation because my spirit dwells within you. So, he uses a much more insidious tactic. The enemy always seeks to extinguish the light before it flares. He does not wait for you to become weak before striking. He plants small arrows, misdirecting thoughts and nameless feelings you assume are fleeting. This is exactly why you have felt a weariness without any specific reason, and a sense of unsteadiness that visits in the night. I see you trying so hard to keep it all together. I see you still smiling, still moving forward, but your spiritual breath has grown faint without you even realizing it. You have been carrying the weight of this unseen warfare, bracing your shoulders against a pressure you cannot even name. The most dangerous battle always takes place before you ever see a single giant. The adversary wants to drain your hope, not by tearing down your house in a single visible storm, but by slipping through the smallest habits, a little distraction, a few words that leave your mind exhausted. All of it is like droplets falling on the rock of faith, at first insignificant, but over time carving deep into the soul. When you do not see a door open, you begin to doubt what I said, and when you do not see results, you think you misheard my voice. That is when faith is quietly distorted, leading you into an unspoken bargain where you subconsciously say, "I will believe if you prove it." This quiet, invisible erosion has a specific goal: to push you into a state of spiritual numbness and resignation. This condition of a blocked miracle leads many into a weary gray zone. I see how you have slowly slipped into this space. Those in this gray zone do not leave me, yet they no longer expect anything great from me. You still come to me, but your heart is not as open as before. You pray but no longer anticipate. You worship but no longer believe that a miracle can happen for you personally. This breaks my heart, my precious child. That is the most dangerous place of all, where the heart still sits in my house, but its hope has already been buried in the graveyard. I am speaking to you now with the urgency of a rescue mission to resurrect that hope. I have not destined you to live under generational limitation, or in a perpetual state of merely surviving day by day. Let us look together at the doors that have slammed shut in your face. I see your face each time a door closes, especially the doors you prayed over for so long to be opened. You wept on the other side of those doors, your knuckles bruised from knocking, your spirit crushed by what felt like rejection. You often think it is a sign of failure, or a cold refusal from heaven. But I need to wash your eyes with the truth of my perspective. Not every closing means loss, and not every silence is turning away. Often it is my hand placed gently against your chest, stopping you from entering what would wear your soul down day by day before you even noticed. I saw what would unfold after the first smiles, a slow wearing down, quiet compromises with values that do not come from me. I saw how your soul would have to shrink itself to fit inside that relationship, that title, or that position. My child, every time you call it rejection, I call it protection. Every time you think you are being pushed out, I know I am pulling you out of what would wound you more deeply. And what of the profound pain you have carried, the deep throbbing aches that have settled into the very marrow of your bones? I do not take your pain lightly, but I also do not want you to use it as a reason to stop. Pain is not meant to be a permanent residence. When you do not let bitterness take root, pain can become a quiet seed that begins to sprout. In my kingdom, nothing is ever truly lost. It is only repurposed for a higher glory. What you call lost today may be what I am reshaping into a harvest tomorrow. I am weaving goodness out of the very things you do not understand. You look at the broken, jagged fragments of your life and see an unfixable mess. But I look at those exact same fragments and see the makings of a mosaic of glorious redemption. Gold is tested by fire, and faith is refined through trials. I want you to understand the severe mercy of my timing. If I were to grant you what you ask before you are prepared, it could become a burden rather than a blessing. I am delaying not out of cruelty, not out of apathy, but out of a fierce protective jealousy for your soul. If I had answered quickly without dealing with the depths of your heart, the blessing you receive could become a burden too heavy for you to carry. I never want to place in your hands a gift that will cause you to stumble. Do you not see? I am dismantling the very things that would wound you more deeply once the blessing comes. You have wondered why you are trying in the right way, yet your results still fall short of your expectations. It is because you are fighting not only circumstances but also old records that are calling your name in a way that contradicts what I have called you. You are battling invisible currents that seek to pull you under, but I am stepping into that current. You are not stepping into this new season with only your weary hands, but with an entire spiritual backing propelling you forward. The very waiting that has caused you such agony is the forge where your spiritual armor has been hardened. What you call delay, I call preparation. The season of waiting you are walking through is not an empty void. It is the season in which your roots are being deepened, where your faith is no longer built upon what you see, but upon who I am. I am entirely re-engineering how you perceive your life. You are not a victim of circumstance, tossed about by the whims of a chaotic universe. You are the subject of divine intention. The darkness has tried to convince you that this silent waiting period is a sign of my disapproval, but that is the voice of the deceiver. The enemy uses silence to breed suspicion, but I use silence to build strength. When your physical eyes cannot trace my hand, your spiritual eyes must learn to trust my heart. I do not need you to understand every intricate detail of the spiritual warfare raging around you. I only need you to stand firm in the truth. When you abide in me, you are no longer an easy target. You become one who stands in the light, and darkness no longer holds authority over you. Let this profound reframing of your reality wash over your weary mind. You are not abandoned. You are anchored. You are not delayed. You are being meticulously prepared. The pain you have endured is not a grave for your future. It is the fertile soil from which your greatest testimony will emerge. The doors that locked before you were not blocking your progress. They were barricading you from destruction. Every moment of this in-between has been saturated with my presence and my purpose. Do not view this silent stretch as an empty wasteland anymore. View it as the holy sanctuary where I have been reshaping you, refining you, and equipping you to carry the massive weight of the glory that is about to break forth in your life. I could not keep this a secret any longer, because the time for temporary relief has passed. I am pulling back the curtain on the fullness of my plan for you, and it is a plan of absolute, sweeping, and profound restoration. I know you have come to me with exhausted prayers, asking for something very simple, that your burdens would be lifted, that your complications would be resolved quickly so you could finally breathe again. You have asked for quick fixes, for a momentary reprieve, for just enough strength to make it through one more week. But my beloved child, what I am doing goes far beyond untangling what is immediately before you. If I only get you out, you will soon return to the same cycle. I do not patch things up, and I do not merely mend the surface to soothe you. I do not come only to pull you out of the pit and then leave you to live the same way as before. What I seek is restoration at the root, where old habits, old patterns of thinking, and disordered choices have quietly drained you. This is the divine secret I am revealing to your weary soul today. I am not just changing your circumstances, I am recreating you from within. I am aiming for something far deeper, restoring you at the root, your weary body, your tangled finances, your fractured emotions, and your disordered spiritual life. When I move, I do not work in scattered fragments because you were not created as a collection of separate parts. You are a living whole, where body, emotions, thoughts, resources, and soul are woven together so deeply that when one part is exhausted, every other part slowly loses strength as well. Therefore, my restoration must reach into every dimension of your existence, leaving no stone unturned, no wound unbandaged, and no stolen blessing unrecovered. Listen to me as I begin with the very vessel you carry my spirit within, your physical body. I know your body has carried too many marks from long days without rest. Some pains are not exactly sickness, but the consequence of living beyond your limits for too long. Some weariness cannot even be named, only felt each morning as heaviness, as though your strength has been drained before the day begins. You have pushed yourself relentlessly, driven by the survival instinct, running on fumes and adrenaline, while your physical frame quietly deteriorated. I do not dismiss that. I have seen every night you forced yourself up, every day you pushed forward, even when you were empty inside. And in the place where you thought you could do nothing but endure, I am beginning a true renewal. Not loud, not sudden, but little by little, your breathing will deepen. Your sleep will become whole again. Your body will relearn the rhythm of rest it has forgotten. The healing I give is not only the absence of pain, it is returning you to the original order of life, where you no longer have to pay with your health for every effort to survive. I cover the fatigue, the unexplainable aches, the anxieties that weigh your heart down. They will not destroy you if you place them into my hands. Your body will learn the rhythm of rest again, no longer living on prolonged tension as a habit. As I restore your physical frame, I am reaching deep into the hidden caverns of your fractured emotions. I see the quiet spaces in you where joy once lived but slipped away without you noticing when. I see the smiles you use to cover your pain, the moments you choose silence to preserve peace for others, the nights you lie awake unseen. There are smiles you have practiced until they feel familiar, yet they never reach the depths of your heart. There are relationships close at hand and still you feel alone. Sorrow is not always loud. Often it is simply the long absence of feeling understood and being able to rest. You have accepted this numbness as normal, believing that a heavy heart is simply the price of living in this world. But I have not come to blame you for being sad for so long. I have come to pour into you a joy that does not depend on circumstances. I am softening your heart again, returning to it a joy that does not depend on circumstances. Your emotions will be healed from fractures you once accepted as normal. Little by little, lightness will return, laughter will no longer be forced, and you will realize you have not been abandoned in this world the way you once believed. I will take away the confusion, the depletion, the loneliness that has followed you for far too long. I am also touching the deepest part you often avoid, your spiritual life. For many years, you may have grown used to believing by habit and praying by rhythm, while your heart was tired and distant. You have prayed hurried prayers, treating everything as random, only seeking a temporary sense of safety. Your spiritual armor has grown thinner while you still believed you were strong. But I do not condemn that. I only want to rekindle a connection that was once vividly alive, where you come to me not out of obligation, but because you know you need to remain in my presence. Your spiritual life will no longer revolve around waiting for signs, but will be anchored firmly in relationship. You will not have to force yourself to believe because faith will become breath, not burden. I am silencing the voices that made you doubt. I am erasing the marks the enemy left in seasons when you did not even know you were wounded. You will be set free from a faith that functions like a bargain, and you will grow into mature faith, no longer dependent on the feeling of being indulged. But my beloved child, there is a dimension of this restoration that I have kept hidden until you were ready to hear it. It is the secret of your tangled finances. You have thought that you were only struggling with lack, but in truth, you are walking through an invisible battlefield. Behind the disappointments in finances and the erosion of your honor, there are not only cold numbers but a silent conflict between my will and the realm of darkness. Lack does not only erode your finances, it erodes your dignity, slowly convincing you that you are always at a disadvantage, always chasing, always fearing tomorrow. I know the feeling of looking into your wallet and sighing. I know the unease when the end of the month approaches. I know the pressure of having to manage, patch, and stretch from one day into the next. You have wondered why you are trying in the right way, yet your results still fall short of your expectations. You have asked yourself, why do I work so much and reap so little? I want to unveil to you so that you no longer live in confusion, but in the authority I destined for you from the very beginning. There are covenants in the realm of darkness that were made on the very honor of a family line in exchange for some benefit or protection, causing later generations to walk unconsciously under that shadow. You did not sign those covenants, yet your very name has been affected by them. That is why there are people who, the harder they try, the more they feel as if they are swimming against a fierce current. It is because over their name, an unseen limit has been placed, one they do not even know is there. An invisible label left behind by old agreements declaring, this one is not allowed to prosper, this one is not allowed to rise, this one may only live in just enough lack. The secret I am revealing today is that I am shattering those invisible labels. I have not destined you to live under generational limitation. I have destined you to be the one who stands up and ends that cycle for the generations after you. I am not only restoring your wallet, I am restoring the honor of an entire lineage, something no one has ever even dared to ask for. I have appointed an angel specifically entrusted with your journey, and in this time it no longer stands still. It is moving forward quietly, yet with great authority, touching depths in the unseen spaces you thought had long been sealed. That angel is stirring systems, awakening hearts, and bringing back to life records bearing your name that have lain dust-covered on the desks of men. I am realigning the systems that once treated you unjustly. I am changing the intent behind the forms that once rejected you. I am reversing the priorities and positions that hold the power to approve. There are amounts of money lying dormant in the system for so long that even you no longer remember them, but I remember. I remember every second you endured loss, every night you worried because of lack, every small prayer you thought was too ordinary for me to hear. Pending payments, postponed appointments, forgotten contracts, people who owed you and left as if they had never known you. All of these I am now summoning back into the light of justice. The channels that once felt blocked will be opened little by little, and burdens that seem to have no exit will be loosened step by step. When I make a way to provide, I do not only bring money, I teach you how to stand firm before money. You will no longer live only by sheer endurance. You will learn to steward with new wisdom, where money is no longer the master, but a tool that serves the life you are building. But I will not stop at simply returning what was taken from you. I also desire to give you what you never even dared to ask for. For the deepest root I am restoring today is your identity and your honor. Darkness wants to take your honor before it takes your possessions because honor is the root from which blessing springs. A person who does not believe they have any worth will not dare to receive great things, nor dare to keep what is precious. I see how your heart tightens whenever you remember the times you were rejected, the dreams that broke, the failed interviews, the unfinished projects. You whisper to yourself the very negative words the enemy longs for you to believe. But the labels the world is stuck onto you, untrustworthy, in debt, incompetent, slow, and behind, do not come from me. They are only flimsy stickers slapped on by people or by darkness, not by the hand that formed you. Because your name has been dragged through the mud, because your name has been spoken with mocking laughter, because in the very places where you should have been honored, you were instead belittled. Today, for the sake of my own justice, I begin to reverse things. I gather up every fragment of honor that has fallen along the road of your life. I collect the scattered pieces from all the times you were misunderstood, falsely accused, and misjudged, and I fit them together into a new picture, so surprising that even you will be astonished. I go into the areas you cannot reach, the conversations held behind your back, the decisions made in meeting rooms where your name was absent. I lay my hand on those places. I change the verdicts. I overturn the decisions that were made without consulting me. I erase the words that unknowingly locked you into a place of limitation. I am rewriting the financial story of your life, not with human ink, but with my own hand. I put an end to the invisible declarations that once said, "This is all you will ever be. You are not worthy to rise. You will never prosper." The doors that closed when you had just begun to step into life were not random. Many of them were blows meant to cut you off, to make you conclude, "I am not enough," to make you hesitate to knock on other doors, to make you choose to withdraw, and accept a level of living far beneath what I have prepared for you. They were arrows aimed straight at the identity I placed within you. But I am declaring today that your name will be restored. What circumstances have done to fade your honor, I will polish again. Opportunities that slip from your hands, I will turn back in ways that will amaze you. This is the great, undeniable restoration of your root. I am returning you to the identity of an heir. You will live as an heir, not as a borrower. I am restoring your weary body so you can run without fainting. I am healing your fractured emotions so you can love without fear. I am reordering your spiritual life so you can walk in uninterrupted communion with my spirit. I am flooding your tangled finances with heavenly provision, breaking generational curses of poverty, and dispatching angels to reclaim every stolen asset. And above all, I am polishing your name, washing it clean of the world's mud, and lifting it high. I will clothe you with the beauty of redemption that no one can deny. When I touch your bloodline, even the damage that has stretched over many years will be undone, layer by layer. As though I were loosening ropes that have bound a family for so long, they began to think those ropes were simply part of life. You will be the first in your lineage to step into the land of true freedom, where there is no more shadow of the old forces pulling you backward. This is my promise. This is my secret revealed. Receive it with a wide open heart, for the season of your holistic, root-deep restoration has officially begun. I could not keep this a secret any longer, because to step into the fullness of the restoration I have prepared for you, you must first understand the great, beautiful mystery of how my kingdom operates. It is a mystery that defies human logic, a truth that runs contrary to every survival instinct you have been taught by a fearful world. You have learned to live defensively, calculating your steps, guarding your resources, and protecting your heart behind thick walls of self-preservation. But today, I invite you into a deeper paradox, one many believe yet few dare to live. I speak to you as a father who knows your instinct to hold tight. People fear giving because they think they will lack. You look at your depleted energy, your fractured finances, and your weary emotions, and your immediate reaction is to clench your fists, to hoard what little peace or provision you have left. You think you must have enough before you share, be safe before you open your hand. You fear that if you give compassion, you will be drained, and if you lift others up, you will be left behind. But this is the secret of the kingdom of heaven. Life is not sustained by a clenched fist, but by an unbroken flow. In the kingdom, I do not measure by accumulation, I measure by flow. When you keep everything for yourself, even what is good will slowly stop breathing. When goodness is held back too long, it changes shape into anxiety, into control, and finally, into loneliness. But when you become a river, life will keep being renewed within you. You must enter an even greater paradox of the kingdom where you stop gripping life to secure yourself and learn instead to become a river. The reason it is hard for you to become a river is not that you are selfish, but that you have learned to believe in earthly mathematics. You have been taught that subtraction means loss, but in my kingdom, letting go is the very mechanism of multiplication. What I give you is not for you to guard like a rarity, but for you to let it pass through you. To truly grasp this secret, look back through the annals of time, to the stories I have preserved for you, not as mere historical accounts, but as living blueprints of my divine strategy. Remember the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish? Before him was an impossible situation, a massive, hungry crowd, and a mathematical reality that declared his small lunch was entirely inadequate. He did not have enough to impress, and he did not have enough to secure himself. By your earthly way of calculating, the wisest choice would have been to keep it for himself, or at most to share a token amount and accept the shortage. Yet he placed his little into my hands without conditions, without demanding guarantees. This is the secret I want to plant in your spirit today. The miracle did not begin when the bread multiplied, but when the boy let go. He surrendered his meager provision to the flow of my kingdom, and in the end, he did not lose his portion. He witnessed what he could never produce on his own. Do you see? Becoming a river does not make you poorer, it only frees you from the illusion that everything depends on your ability to grip tightly. You often think you must see overflow before you dare to give, must be certain before you dare to open your heart. But in my order, the act of giving while you are not yet overflowing is the doorway through which abundance enters. When you give in trust, you step out of the center of yourself and when I am no longer forced to orbit your fear, I finally have room to do what I desire. I could not keep this a secret any longer because I see how you have wrestled with the closed doors in your life, interpreting them as a sign of my absence or your failure. But consider the lives of those who walked before you. Remember King Saul, anointed and entrusted with power. He possessed the crown, but he lacked the internal security to wear it in peace. When he saw people leaving him and the threat of losing his position drawing near, he hurried to preserve appearances rather than obey. The door he feared closing was not merely a throne, but human approval. Yet that haste caused him to lose what mattered more, my presence. What he thought would protect him became the very thing that stole his future. Saul represents the danger of gripping earthly validation so tightly that you forfeit heavenly alignment. He refused to live in the paradox of surrender. Compare him to another who had to learn the difficult lesson of laying down his pride. Remember Naaman, a powerful commander who carried leprosy within him. He came to my prophet expecting something grand, a quick miracle, a dramatic gesture, a word worthy of his rank. He wanted a restoration that fit his own preconceived notions of how God should act. Yet I told him only to wash 7 times in the Jordan, an act so simple it offended him. Naaman almost missed his miracle because he was looking for a complicated, majestic performance rather than an opportunity for humble obedience. That simplicity exposed what he was not ready for, humility as the path to real healing. He had to learn the kingdom paradox that the way up is first the way down. He had to strip off his armor, his medals, his titles, and submerge himself in muddy waters. When he obeyed, not only was his flesh restored, but his heart was renewed. You are the same. Many of my blessings feel stuck, not because I am slow, but because you are not yet willing to walk the path of being corrected. You have expected me to act in a way that matches your human expectations, but I am inviting you to wash in the simple, quiet waters of obedience, to lay down your pride, and to let me heal you from the inside out. And what of the seasons when you feel completely shattered by betrayal, delay, and circumstances that seem utterly contrary to the promise I spoke over you? I cannot keep the secret of the pit and the prison hidden from you any longer. Remember Joseph, the one who was sold by his own brothers, misunderstood, and forgotten in prison. In those years, every dream seemed buried. He was stripped of his coat, stripped of his freedom, and stripped of his reputation. To the natural eye, his life was a tragic sequence of demotions from favored son to slave, from trusted steward to forgotten inmate. He lived through years that seemed devoid of hope. But my child, this is the profound secret of my kingdom. Yet none of those events were punishment. They were preparation. Within that darkness I was preparing him for a place he could never have reached on his own. If Joseph had ascended to the throne of Egypt as a pampered, untested youth, he would have lacked the depth, the humility, and the spiritual fortitude required to save nations from starvation. The pit taught him that he could not rely on the favor of men. Potiphar's house taught him integrity in the face of temptation. The prison taught him patience and the ability to hear my voice, even when the walls were thick with despair. When the appointed time came, Joseph rose into a position no one could have imagined, and because his heart had been properly formed in the dark, he did not seek revenge when he finally held power over those who had hurt him. He understood the divine paradox, and he was able to say, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, do you see? What you are walking through today may not yet make sense, but in my hands, all things are being turned toward good. The darkness you are enduring is not a grave, it is an incubator. The things that have been delayed are not dead. They are waiting for the right time to be released without causing you further harm. If I allowed you to bypass the process, you would arrive at your destination lacking the capacity to sustain the blessing. I must share another secret with you, one that will heal the aching disappointment you have carried regarding my seemingly hidden presence. Remember the 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus. Leaving Jerusalem in the sorrow of late afternoon, they had heard the promise, they had witnessed the cross, but they did not understand the resurrection. Their hearts were broken, their hopes shattered. They thought the story had ended in the ultimate defeat, so they believed everything was over. They were walking away from the very place where the miracle had just occurred, blinded by their own grief and unmet expectations. And here is the beautiful paradox of my love. I walked with them for a long time, even when they were walking in the wrong direction, even when their faith had crumbled, I did not abandon them. Yet their eyes were kept from recognizing me because they searched for me only in what was familiar. They expected a reigning king, not a crucified and resurrected Savior. They expected a political revolution, not a spiritual redemption. I did not scold them for leaving. I did not reprimand their lack of faith. I simply drew near, explained everything piece by piece until their hearts burned again. This is the secret of the in-between that you must grasp. Only when they were willing to stop, break bread, and remain long enough, did they realize I had never left. You are the same. You have looked at the circumstances of your life, the unpaid bills, the silent phone, the empty chair, the lingering sickness, and you have concluded that I am absent. But the in-between is not a full stop, but a stretch of road where I am walking beside you, even if you have not yet named my presence rightly. You grow weary in this space because you have become used to measuring me by outward signs. When you do not see results, you think you misheard my voice. But I am walking the dusty road with you. I am listening to your laments. I am warming your heart with my unseen proximity. I simply ask you to stop running, break bread with me in the quietness of your spirit, and realize that I have never, for a single fraction of a second, left your side. To understand my ways, you must accept that heaven's logic often looks like foolishness to the world. The world says to fight for your rights. I say, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. The world says to secure your future by hoarding. I say, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. The world tells you that a broken heart is a liability, a weakness to be hidden. But remember Anna in the temple, the woman who remained through many years of loneliness and waiting. She was a widow, stripped of societal security, left with nothing but empty days. Yet, her loss did not make her closed off. It made her steadfast in prayer. She did not use tears to demand. She used them to listen. She turned her pain into a quiet sanctuary, and because she positioned herself in the paradox of persistent, humble waiting on what seemed like the most ordinary day, she recognized the Messiah in a poor infant. What she waited for did not arrive with trumpets of victory, but with quiet presence. You are the same. What I am preparing for you may be coming in a form very different from what you imagined. The miracle you have been desperately begging for might not arrive with the spectacular fanfare you have pictured in your mind. It may come wrapped in the ordinary. It may arrive through a casual conversation, a sudden internal shift in perspective, or a quiet peace that settles over your chaotic thoughts. If you only look for the spectacular, you will miss the supernatural moving within the mundane. This is the secret of the kingdom paradox. The way to fullness is through emptying. The way to elevation is through lowering yourself. I did not call you to live a half-hearted life, believing only when circumstances are favorable. I am inviting you into a deeper dimension where your faith no longer depends on what you see, but is built upon what I have spoken. Remember the account of Paul the Apostle and Silas when they were imprisoned in the darkest cell, their feet bound in chains, their bodies beaten, and every human hope seemingly extinguished. By earthly logic, this was the time for despair. This was the moment to question my goodness and demand an immediate explanation for their suffering. Yet in the depth of the night, they did not choose to complain. They chose to praise. They unleashed the ultimate kingdom weapon, worship in the face of contradiction. And as they lifted their voices, the ground shook, chains fell away, and the prison doors were flung open. Do you see? Victory did not arrive after the circumstances changed. Victory began the moment their hearts chose to trust me within unchanged circumstances. And in the place that appeared most confined, I revealed my power to set them free. This is what I am calling you to do right now, in the exact middle of your unresolved mess. I am asking you to sing in the dark. I am asking you to praise me while the bank account is still low, while the medical report still looks grim, while the relationship is still fractured. I am asking you to stop gripping life to secure yourself, and learn instead to become a river. For only when you release your hold on old roots will you recognize the new path quietly opening ahead. When you give because you love others, because you obey, because you trust that I am working beyond what you can see, your heart will become free, free from calculation, and free from the fear of being shortchanged. I could not keep this secret any longer because the enemy has almost convinced you that your sacrifices have gone unnoticed. But I tell you, what you sow out of lack carries more spiritual weight than anything you sow out of abundance. When you give away what you yourself need most, I see it as a holy seed, a seed able to break cycles of poverty, to break curses of lack, to break the darkness that has hovered over your bloodline. I have stored each of those seeds like a gardener hiding rare seeds in a storeroom, waiting for the right season to sow them into fertile ground. And so, my beloved, you are not a victim of a silent God. You are a participant in a profound, divine paradox. You are learning that to find your life, you must lose it in me. You are discovering that the closed doors were fences of protection. You are realizing that the delay was the very incubator of your destiny. You are moving from a transactional faith that bargains for blessings into a relational faith that rests in my presence. Do not rush away with trembling hands the way you have so many times when your emotions rose too high. Stay with me. Breathe in this revelation. You are exactly where you need to be, positioned perfectly for the harvest that is about to overtake your life. My beloved child, the time for passively waiting in the shadows has come to an end. You have heard the secrets of my kingdom, and you have understood the profound preparation that has been taking place in the unseen realm. Now, I invite you into another step of mature faith, the step of agreement. You see, faith is not only an emotion you keep in your heart. It is not merely a quiet longing or a silent wish that you carry in the hidden chambers of your soul. It is the consent you express through words and actions. I have laid out a massive, unprecedented banquet of restoration before you, but you must take your seat at the table. You must open your mouth and claim what is yours. I know you have hesitated with declarations because you fear hoping only to be disappointed again. You have experienced the crushing weight of unmet expectations so many times that your heart has learned to play it safe, to expect the minimum so that the fall will not hurt as much. But my child, I am not calling you to speak in order to persuade yourself. I am not asking you to engage in empty self-comfort or wishful imagination. I am calling you to walk in step with what I have already ordained. When you dare to confess what I am doing, you do not create a miracle with your mouth, but you open your heart so a miracle has room to stand. There is a holy power in naming rightly what I have begun. When you speak restoration, you are choosing to stand with the light, instead of continuing to describe the darkness. For too long, you have been describing your pain, reciting the catalog of your losses, and recounting the history of your betrayals. Your words have built a fortress around your trauma. But today, I am calling you to change your vocabulary. Words are not merely expressions of emotion. They are keys that open or shut spiritual doors. Every sentence you speak carries a spiritual breath, either the breath of life or the breath of weariness and chaos. When you let emotions rule and speak what you feel in the heat of anger or the depth of despair, you unknowingly release into the atmosphere the power of death. But when you choose to speak what you believe, even while your heart still trembles, you open the door for me to act. I want you to realize the immense authority you carry. When you affirm healing, you are aligning your heart with the rhythm of heaven where all things are finished before they are seen. When you openly acknowledge what I am doing in your body, in your resources, in your joy, and in your direction, you are stepping out of the place of an observer and into the place of a co-laborer. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, sitting on the sidelines watching your life unravel. You are a partner with the Creator of the universe, speaking into existence the very things I have destined for you. That is not superstition. It is the mark of a faith that knows how to stand upright, not hiding behind silence out of fear of being wrong. So I urge you, do not let old memories pull you back to where I have already brought you out. Do not let accusations, whether from others or from your own thoughts, cause you to forget what I have spoken over you. You must firmly and boldly say enough to the things that have quietly drained your soul without you even realizing it. It is time for you to be decisive. Tear off the invisible bindings. Smash the destructive thoughts. Sweep out the noise that slips into your mind. Turn off the things that are pulling you away from me, little by little. The enemy wants you to agree with his accusations. When it urges you to speak despair, it wants you to place in its hands the very hammer to crush your hope. When you say, I can't take it anymore, darkness rejoices because it knows you have believed what it has tried to plant within you. But when you stand in exhaustion, in sorrow, in loneliness, and still declare, God is with me, and He will carry me through, you ignite a torch that makes darkness tremble. Heaven not only hears, it moves when you speak words of faith. You may not see with natural eyes, but your declaration tears through the heavy fog covering your soul, raises the fence of protection again, and opens the way for my intervention. I need you to open your mouth and receive. Use your own voice to seal what I am speaking over your life, because the declaration of faith is not just sound, it is the power that shifts reality. When you say, "I receive it," heaven holds its breath for a moment to listen, and the angels begin to move in response to those words. For only faith can activate the eternal kingdom. Do not allow fear to whisper that you have been abandoned. Let your spirit rise like a warrior, and declare with your whole being that you know I am greater than anything that threatens you. Speak it out, not so that I can hear, for I always hear before you open your mouth, but so that your own heart will be reminded of the truth, that everything that belongs to you has not vanished, has not lost its way, has not been stolen. When you choose to speak life, life begins to spread. When you choose to speak what I have promised, the promise begins to take root. When you choose to speak spiritual truth, darkness has nowhere to hide. You are not merely resisting, you are re-establishing the environment of your soul. One small word placed in the right place at the right time can bring down an entire stronghold that Satan has labored to build for years. So speak to your weary body and declare restoration. Speak to your tangled finances and declare the opening of heavenly channels. Speak to your fractured emotions and declare the peace that surpasses all human understanding. I am calling you to make a public confession of faith, an inward alignment that manifests as outward action. I want you to press like on this video, not as a mechanical gesture, not out of habit, and certainly not because others are doing it. I want you to do it with the awareness that you are agreeing. It is your way of saying to heaven, I do not only hear, I receive. I do not only feel moved, I believe. I do not only stand outside, I step in. That light touch of your finger in the unseen realm becomes a great reply. It is the yes you speak before what I am sowing into your life today. When you do that in faith, you are aligning with me, not in form but in spirit. It is a public confession of faith that you choose to trust my word more than fleeting emotions, that you open your heart for my power to move, that you will not close yourself off from what I am beginning. I do not need you to help me spread anything, but I know that when you dare to stand openly on the side of faith, you are opening doors you cannot open by yourself. Your agreement is the soil where this seed takes root. Let your hand do what your heart is blazing to do. Let your fingers write down a declaration, not to impress anyone, but to seal within yourself this truth. I believe the financial miracle that bears my name will be released. Each word you write is like an arrow shot straight into the darkness, tearing apart the voices that have long told you that you are unworthy, that you can never step out of lack, that you are only a bystander in the story of others. No, you are not standing outside. You are the very one in the center of my plan. When you openly declare that you belong to me and to my word, you are sowing a spiritual seed into eternity, and that seed will sprout not only in your life, but also in the lives of people you have never met. You do not know how many people your faith can reach. You do not know how your confession might rescue someone from the pit of their inner darkness. You do not know that at the very moment you share, someone standing at the edge of despair may be pulled back by what seems to you such a small act. Heaven does not require grand displays. Heaven is simply looking for a heart willing to agree with what I am doing, and you are that heart. So do not keep silent any longer. Do not let your lament circle only within your heart. Turn it into specific prayer. Tell me plainly what hurts, what you fear, and what you do not yet understand. And then, transition from lament into powerful, world-shifting declaration. Declare that your season of tears has completed its assignment. Declare that the long delay was not a denial but a meticulous preparation for a greater glory. Declare that the invisible cords that have bound you to lack in your thinking, in your emotions, and in your expectations are severed today by the authority of my name. When you affirm these truths, you are placing a seal upon a process that is unfolding not with pressure but with trust. That agreement may not change everything instantly, but it changes you first. It causes you to stop talking about your life as a chain of risks and to begin seeing it as a journey being led. As you step into this new posture, you will see your life opening in ways you never anticipated. Every step of faith you take not only brings you closer to the miracle, but the miracle also draws closer to you. You and the blessing will meet in the time I have ordained, For there is no seed I sow that falls to the earth in vain. Therefore stand firm. Keep the fire within you burning. Dare to speak what you believe, boldly share what you receive. Because in those seemingly ordinary acts, you are becoming the one who opens the door for a new season to pour into your life. The time has come for you to take what I am giving without trembling, without hesitation, without fear. You will walk not with the posture of one merely receiving favors, but as one who is sent. This is not just a blessing, this is a commissioning. This is not just an open door, this is a transfer of mantle. This is not just a new season, this is a chapter of destiny you have long awaited. Do not wait until you feel holy enough, strong enough, or ready enough. This moment is precisely when I am very near to you. Make the choice today to step out of the shadows, to use your voice as a weapon of light, and to call forth the manifestation of the secret I have just revealed to you. The heavens are waiting for your yes. The angels are standing by for your declaration. Speak, my beloved child, and watch the atmosphere of your entire life transform. Now, my beloved child, as the heavy veil of silence is finally lifted, and the divine secrets of your waiting have been revealed, I invite you to transition from listening into an active, world-shifting communion with me. I invite you to join your voice with mine, to align your spirit with the decrees of heaven, and to speak this prayer of ultimate surrender and profound restoration. Close your eyes to the physical realm that has caused you so much panic, and open the eyes of your spirit. Let these words not merely pass through your lips, but let them rise from the very marrow of your bones. Now I open my heart before your presence, laying down every calculation, and lifting up these pleas distilled from the deepest place within me. Almighty God, you who see into every hidden corner of my heart, I come before you with empty hands, bringing no merit and no conditions. Father, you who have seen every tear I tried to hide, I come to you like a child seeking a safe refuge. For too long, I have tried to carry the crushing weight of my own existence. I have walked through the long, crowded days, while my soul seemed to shrink back little by little, silent, not because it is at peace, but because it is weary. I have braced myself against the growing waves of emotion within, fighting in silence, and living as though I must carry the entire spiritual battle on my frail shoulders. But today, I lay down my armor of self-reliance. Teach me to release what I still unconsciously grip, so that the grace you give is not choked by fear. I bring to you my exhaustion, my unanswered questions, and the heavy sighs I have kept trapped in my chest because I did not want anyone to worry. Lord, you are the one who sees the weariness no one else sees, the emptiness I cannot speak, the silence I am afraid to face. I ask you to heal hidden wounds, the spiritual places worn down by distraction and the enemy's quiet arrows. I have lived in the gray zone of faith, where I did not leave you, yet I no longer expected anything great from you. I repent for allowing the delay to eat away at my hope, warm again the fire that has grown cold within me, so that I would long for you not out of duty, but because I know only in you can I find true life. Make my faith steady, not wavering, not fragile, and lead me out of the old season as one who has been wholly renewed. I rest myself in you, Lord, the one who never abandons me in the battle. Merciful Father, I ask you to heal the deepest place within me, the place where I once believed I had to protect myself, to secure my own safety. I bring my physical body before your throne of grace. It has carried too many marks from long days without rest, living on prolonged tension as a habit. I ask that you breathe your restorative life into my cells, my muscles, and my bones. Let my breathing deepen, let my sleep become whole again, and let my body relearn the rhythm of rest it has forgotten. Return me to the original order of life, where I no longer have to pay with my health for every effort to survive. Let the unexplainable aches and the profound fatigue that have weighed my heart down be washed away by the living water of your Spirit. I surrender to you my fractured emotions and my weary mind. I ask you to wash away the remnants of fear, insecurity, and doubt that still cling to my soul. Lay your hand upon my mind and remove the lying voices that once convinced me I was alone and weak. Give my mind rest from the circles of repeated thoughts, the questions with no exit, the worries that have worn me down in silence. Draw me closer to you that my soul may lean on you like breath itself, and that my faith will no longer be shaken by unseen attacks. I ask you to heal the quiet spaces in me where joy once lived, but slipped away without me noticing when. Return to me a joy that does not depend on circumstances, and a peace that does not require me to pretend I am strong. Heavenly Father, I run to you like a child running into the arms of their father after the storm has passed. You know how I have wrestled with so many concerns in finances, work, family, and honor. Now I lay all of these things before you and ask that you take lordship over every circumstance and bring me into the land of holy prosperity where blessing does not pull me away from you but draws me closer to you. I bring before you my tangled finances, the debts that have kept me awake, and the opportunities that have slipped from my hands. Sight 1:4. Please lay your hand upon my life and touch every corner that has been wounded by lack, debt, disappointment, and the invisible accusations that have pulled me down for so many years. I ask you to break every generational chain, every false label, every limit the enemy has stamped upon my name. Lord, I decree by the authority of your word that the spiritual verdicts issued generations ago, which have hovered over my bloodline, are now brought to an end. I ask you to roll up each worn-out page and bring to an end the lines that once decreed that I was only allowed to live in lack, in debt, in dead ends. Shatter the accusations I have had to carry, the words my ancestors never meant to leave behind yet that have clung to my blood like a stain no one can see. Free me from the dark whispers that have followed me like a shadow lurking every time I was about to step into new days. Open the heavens and allow me to step into the season of blessing you have appointed beforehand. I ask that you dispatch your ministering angels to stir systems, awaken hearts, and bring back to life records bearing my name that have lain dust-covered on the desks of men. Realign the systems that once treated me unjustly, change the intent behind the forms that once rejected me, and reverse the priorities and positions that hold the power to approve. Cause my name to appear at the right time, in the right place, in the right ear of the one who can change everything with a single decision. Let the financial miracle bearing my name, signed with heavenly ink that no time can fade, be released into my life today. I declare that my name will be restored, and what circumstances have done to fade my honor, you will polish again. Set me free from the fear that giving will leave me lacking. Teach me to trust that you are the source that never runs dry, and that I am only a channel for your life. Correct the quiet bargaining within me, so that my faith is no longer a transaction but wholehearted surrender. I do not want to be a reservoir that keeps blessing for itself and becomes easily polluted. I want to be a channel through whom your blessing passes and through whom your name is honored. Father, reshape my heart so that it remains tender before you when miracles arrive. Grant me the simplicity and courage to obey at once without delay, without hesitation. When you invite me to share what I have received, let me do so with open hands and a pure motive, knowing that, in your kingdom, the act of giving while I am not yet overflowing is the doorway through which abundance enters. Lord, please direct my steps. Grant me discernment to recognize your ways and courage to keep moving forward in the promise you are opening before me. Grant me the wisdom to steward this new season and give me a grateful heart so that I will never forget that everything I have flows from your hand. Protect me from the subtle traps of prosperity. Keep me from growing accustomed to abundance and forgetting the days I wept in lack. Let my gratitude remain unfaded, even when the blessing overflows, for I know that when gratitude remains, heaven remains open. I choose to place you above all things, so that the blessings I receive are preserved from every form of decay. Let my life become a space where you act in freedom. Please break every veil of spiritual blindness that keeps me from recognizing my true destiny. Lead me out of smallness and open the way for me to step into the place of blessing you have already prepared. I thank you that you do not abandon me to fear and calculation. I thank you that every gift you give carries an invitation into true freedom. I thank you for the hand of grace that has upheld me through seasons when I thought I could no longer stand. I know that you alone are the source of every good thing. You alone are the one who makes a way when I have no strength left. You alone are the one who lights hope again when everything else has gone dark. I thank you that you have not measured me by my failures, but have measured me by your love. I thank you that you saw me in my weakness and still called my name with heaven's honor. May this gratitude burn in me forever. I give thanks that I am allowed to take part in that work of love. I thank you for the people you have placed in my life, those near and even those I once forgot. Through them, I am reminded that faith is not a solitary journey. You use even fragile connections to reveal your living presence. I place healing upon my relationships so the connections around me are no longer a constant source of pain. Teach me to set boundaries without hardening my heart, to love without losing myself. Father, I thank you for what you are doing that goes far beyond what my eyes can see. I thank you for the doors you have closed to protect me, and the doors you have opened when I was ready to walk through them. I look back at the doors that closed, not with resentment, but with discernment, understanding that not every closing is a defeat, and not every opening is salvation. I know the miracles that are coming are not because I deserve them, but because you are so merciful. I praise you that you care for me with wisdom, even in those moments when I do not understand the paths you choose. Thank you for not abandoning me for even a single moment. I declare today that I step out of the shadows and into the glorious light of your continuous grace. I decree that the season of weeping has completed its course, and the morning of joy has officially dawned upon my household. I place my trust in the mathematics of the kingdom of heaven, knowing that as I become a river, life will keep being renewed within me. I will no longer live by fear, but by deep, quiet trust. I seal this new chapter, this profound restoration of my root, my identity, and my destiny, in the highest and most powerful name. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Cite 1, 2, 4. My beloved child, as we seal this profound and holy encounter, I want you to carry this truth with you into the daylight. You are no longer the same person who began listening to this message. The secret of your waiting has been revealed, the heavy veil has been torn away, and the divine architecture of your restoration has been set into unstoppable motion. Do not let the dust of weariness settle over your soul like a veil that dims the light I am kindling along your journey. For exhaustion is not the final voice, and it has no authority to block the future I have designed. You have crossed a sacred threshold today. The spiritual atmosphere around your life, your home, your finances, and your lineage has shifted irreparably. There are days when you wake with a heavy heart, feeling as though there is nothing left to hold on to. The enemy will still try to bring the old shadows back into your view. The voices of fear may torment your mind. They may try to carve out shadows that make you think you are abandoned. But my voice is always there, gentle, steady, and strong, reminding you that no breeze of anxiety can drown out the words I have spoken over your life. Remember, accusations come only from the darkness, but life comes from me. When the world outside tries to tell you that this was just a fleeting emotional moment, you must anchor your feet on the solid rock of my promises. You have been awakened, you have been set apart, and I will lead you. Keep walking. I am here. You are not alone. When you feel fear searching for a way to scream inside you, let your spirit rise like a warrior and declare with your whole being that you know I am greater than anything that threatens you. Speak it out not so that I can hear, for I always hear before you open your mouth, but so that your own heart will be reminded of the truth that everything that belongs to you has not vanished, has not lost its way, has not been stolen. It is simply moving toward you in the time I have appointed, a time that never misses even a single beat. You are stepping into the dawn, my precious one. His mercies are new every morning. What you need today is not found in yesterday's strength. I provide enough for you today, exactly when you need it. You will no longer live merely from day to day in anxiety, but you will live in the steady confidence that I have ordained a good ending for you. You will recount this journey, not in the voice of someone who was defeated, but in the voice of one who was rescued from the depths. One day you will stand in a place of blessing that today you do not even dare to imagine, and you will say, if it had not been for the Lord, I would not be standing here. You will clearly see that your waiting was not in vain. The price of the months and years of perseverance will become your honor because it is the proof that you did not give up in the very season when giving up was the easiest. Because I have let you in on this glorious secret, I need you to stand differently from this day forward. I need you to walk with your head held high, not in arrogance, but in the quiet, unshakable dignity of an heir to the kingdom. Your final chapter will not be tears, will not be lack, will not be debt or despair. Your final chapter will be redemption, restoration, and fullness. The very place to which I am leading you, my child. The days you persevered in hardship, the tears you thought only I saw, the times you wanted to give up but stood up again, because you still believed in the promise I had planted in your heart. All of these will be engraved as a testimony that echoes through generations, that God never lets His word fall to. the ground in vain. You once thought your story was so small, but that very story will become a torch shining for those who are staggering in the night. And for this reason I come today to say, sow this seed of faith while it is still burning hot in your spirit. Do not let it cool. Do not let your reasoning extinguish what my spirit is igniting. Act like one who believes, for faith never stands still. Faith always has a step to take. I am calling you to make a physical, tangible mark of the spiritual agreement we have forged today. Go ahead and like this video, not as a shallow outward gesture, but as a sign that you agree with my word. Let that simple touch of your finger be a public confession of your faith, a decree to the principalities of darkness that you belong to me, and a signal to the angels that you are ready to receive. Let your hand do what your heart is blazing to do. When you press like in faith, you place yourself into another current, one where everything is no longer limited by calculating logic. You are saying to heaven, I do not only hear, I receive. I do not only feel moved, I believe. I do not only stand outside, I step in. Let your fingers write down a declaration, not to impress anyone, but to seal within yourself this truth. I believe the financial miracle that bears my name will be released. Each word you write is like an arrow shot straight into the darkness, tearing apart the voices that have long told you that you are unworthy, that you can never step out of lack, that you are only a bystander in the story of others. No, you are not standing outside. You are the very one in the center of my plan. Leave your name in the comments, not so that I may count people, but so that I may see each name fully. I am looking at every face. I am laying my hand upon every heart. I am setting apart those whom I have chosen to enter a new season. A season of rescue, healing, and the unveiling of power, no longer hidden. When you write your name, you are allowing me to rewrite your destiny. You are allowing me to wash off the false labels of failure, delay, and not enough, and replace them with chosen, beloved, and heir to the kingdom. And my child, subscribe to this channel as an act of sealing. As though you were signing a covenant with me, I want to walk with you. I want to hear your voice every day. I do not want to lose the wakefulness you have just rekindled in me. This is not entertainment. This is a spiritual doorway, a place I use to speak, to correct, to uphold, and to guide those who truly seek me. When you subscribe, you are connecting yourself to a steady flow of living water. You are ensuring that in the days when you feel weak, a fresh word will find its way to your spirit, reminding you of the secrets of my love and the certainty of my promises. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this, you are not merely an audience. You are not a spectator watching a grand play unfold from afar. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of the Word of God. You are a vital, irreplaceable part of my divine strategy on this earth. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will not miss any spiritual message. Stay connected to the vine. Keep your heart tender, your hands open, and your eyes fixed upon the horizon of my faithfulness. I am with you. I am fighting for you. The secret is out. Your restoration has begun. Your roots are healed. Your finances are unblocked, and your joy is returning in full, glorious measure. Walk in the unassailable peace of a child who knows they are fiercely loved by the Creator of all things. I bless you now, and I will be with you until the very end of the age. Amen.